1. An adult learner is struggling with understanding basic algebraic expressions. Which strategy best aligns with adult learning principles to support this learner? A. Assign extra worksheets for independent practice. B. Use real-life budgeting examples to demonstrate variable use. C. Increase homework load to reinforce repetition. D. Require memorization of algebraic rules before application. 2. When teaching adult learners multiplication of decimals, which method supports curriculum development for differentiated instruction? A. Utilize a single textbook with standardized exercises. B. Incorporate technology-based simulations and peer teaching. C. Provide only auditory instruction with minimal visual aids. D. Assign uniform group tasks regardless of skill level. 3. A clinical instructor needs to assess learners' understanding of ratios in a nursing dosage calculation module. What evaluation method is most effective? A. Oral quizzes with yes-no answers. B. Peer evaluations using anecdotal feedback. C. Scenario-based problem-solving with real patient cases. D. True-false worksheets. 4. Which strategy best supports communication principles when explaining the order of operations to adult learners? A. Use complex terminology to demonstrate professionalism. B. Explain once and move on to independent practice. C. Simplify language and use visual order of operations charts. D. Avoid repetition to maintain class pace. 5. An instructor mentors a colleague on teaching measurement conversions. Which mentoring approach best reflects adult learning theory? A. Lecture on best practices without learner input. B. Assign journal articles without follow-up. C. Facilitate collaborative lesson planning with guided reflection. D. Require observation without feedback. 6. During a math review, a learner asks for clarification on fractions. How should the instructor respond in alignment with adult learning principles? A. Refer the learner to the textbook. B. Re-explain using a context relevant to the learner's career. C. Ignore the question to stay on schedule. D. Assign the learner to a different class level. 7. When evaluating math competency in clinical documentation, which method ensures regulatory compliance? A. Administer unmonitored take-home exams. B. Provide self-graded worksheets. C. Use validated assessment tools aligned with national standards. D. Allow learners to opt out of math assessments. 8. An instructor wants to ensure mastery of graph interpretation among adult learners. What curriculum strategy is best? A. Focus solely on bar graphs. B. Include a mix of line, bar, and pie graphs with contextual applications. C. Skip graphs and focus on equations. D. Use only textbook examples without context. 9. Which communication method is most effective for explaining integer operations to ESL adult learners? A. Written definitions in complex language. B. Visual aids and number lines with simplified terms. C. Lecture-only instruction. D. Emphasis on written quizzes. 10. When creating math curriculum for healthcare trainees, what ensures alignment with clinical instruction? A. Use random math topics to test general skills. B. Focus on dosage calculations, ratios, and measurements. C. Emphasize geometry proofs and theoretical math. D. Assign math tests unrelated to clinical content. 11. An instructor uses patient chart simulations to teach percentages. This best demonstrates which principle? A. Standardized instruction. B. Adult learning through contextual application. C. Rote memorization. D. Peer-led evaluation. 12. Which of the following best evaluates a learner's understanding of area and perimeter in a clinical context? A. Assign formulas without examples. B. Have learners measure and calculate dimensions of hospital beds. C. Provide multiple choice tests only. D. Use unrelated geometry puzzles. 13. In a mentoring session, a new instructor struggles to connect math to adult learners' careers. What guidance is most helpful? A. Direct them to online math tutorials. B. Encourage integration of workplace scenarios into lessons. C. Suggest avoiding career-specific examples. D. Emphasize textbook-driven instruction. 14. When building a math module on fractions, which approach aligns best with adult learning theory? A. Begin with theoretical concepts. B. Start with real-world examples like recipes and budgets. C. Provide long lectures without interaction. D. Assign problems from a standardized test book. 15. To comply with educational regulations, how should math instructors assess progress? A. Informal peer reviews only. B. Regular, documented assessments using measurable outcomes. C. Allow learners to self-assess without records. D. Optional quizzes. 16. Which communication approach is best when providing feedback on a math test? A. Use vague language to avoid confrontation. B. Deliver written feedback without discussion. C. Offer specific, constructive feedback and invite questions. D. Focus only on incorrect answers. 17. What mentoring method encourages reflective teaching practice in math instruction? A. Require weekly lesson submissions without review. B. Conduct collaborative teaching reviews with feedback. C. Avoid direct observation of lessons. D. Emphasize performance rankings only. 18. In curriculum development, which strategy ensures math content supports critical thinking? A. Include only multiple choice questions. B. Incorporate real-life problem scenarios with multiple solutions. C. Emphasize memorization of formulas. D. Limit content to basic arithmetic. 19. When designing a clinical math test, which factor supports regulatory compliance? A. Use of industry-recognized competencies. B. Informal design with flexible grading. C. Elimination of all documentation. D. Verbal assessments only. 20. What evaluation technique best identifies math misconceptions in adult learners? A. True-false quizzes. B. Open-ended questions requiring explanation of reasoning. C. Standard multiple choice without review. D. Visual observation only. 21. An instructor wants to teach proportions for medication dosing. Which teaching method supports adult learners? A. Use authentic case studies from healthcare. B. Focus on textbook drills. C. Present abstract ratios without application. D. Ignore learners' professional backgrounds. 22. Which strategy best aligns with mentoring a new math teacher in curriculum design? A. Assign a complete syllabus and avoid collaboration. B. Guide them through goal setting and learner-centered planning. C. Suggest they replicate existing materials without modification. D. Discourage questioning established practices. 23. In a TABE math prep class, how should communication be adapted for diverse learners? A. Standardize communication for all levels. B. Use layered explanations, visuals, and language support. C. Provide only written directions. D. Avoid peer interaction. 24. Which curriculum feature supports adult learners needing help with decimals? A. Contextualized lessons tied to financial literacy. B. Isolated problem sets from standardized books. C. Extensive theoretical background. D. Memorization of decimal rules. 25. What is a key indicator of effective clinical instruction in math? A. Learner ability to explain applications in patient care. B. Test scores only. C. Completion of homework. D. Attendance rate. 26. How should a mentor address a teacher's weakness in explaining geometry? A. Critique without offering support. B. Model lessons and provide constructive feedback. C. Assign reading without interaction. D. Avoid addressing the issue. 27. In evaluating progress in time calculations, which method is most appropriate? A. Provide general feedback. B. Use time-based work scenarios requiring precise math. C. Administer unrelated math quizzes. D. Skip evaluation for this topic. 28. When learners struggle with graph interpretation, how should the instructor respond? A. Skip graphs and move on. B. Re-explain using workplace-relevant data. C. Provide more quizzes without instruction. D. Suggest external tutoring only. 29. A clinical educator integrates volume calculations into a lesson. This best supports A. Personal finance. B. Patient dosage accuracy. C. General arithmetic. D. Abstract reasoning. 30. To meet adult learning principles, math lessons should A. Be delivered through lectures only. B. Focus on learner goals and prior experiences. C. Avoid connection to real-life applications. D. Prioritize test prep over understanding. 31. What best ensures communication clarity during math instruction? A. Use abstract language. B. Incorporate visual aids and check for understanding. C. Avoid learner questions. D. Use only written materials. 32. A mentor provides new instructors with checklists for math content delivery. This supports A. Informal instruction. B. Structured guidance and consistency. C. Independent lesson planning. D. Elimination of creativity. 33. When assessing numeracy skills for regulatory purposes, instructors should A. Use formal, documented evaluations. B. Base grades on participation only. C. Avoid data collection. D. Let learners self-report skills. 34. In teaching multiplication, which approach promotes adult learning? A. Abstract exercises only. B. Real-world scenarios like ordering supplies. C. Timed drills with no context. D. Formula memorization. 35. Which mentoring approach supports continuous growth? A. One-time feedback sessions. B. Ongoing goal setting and coaching. C. Informal observation only. D. No performance review. 36. What assessment aligns with curriculum focused on budgeting and decimals? A. Role-play financial planning. B. Standard timed test only. C. Geometry drills. D. Matching vocabulary terms. 37. When explaining percentages, what aids retention in adult learners? A. Relating to discount prices and medical data. B. Reciting definitions repeatedly. C. Using abstract percentage examples. D. Memorizing without context. 38. How can math instruction support adult learners with prior negative experiences? A. Avoid discussing feelings. B. Create a supportive, goal-focused environment. C. Rely on rigid testing. D. Dismiss their concerns. 39. What best reflects regulatory compliance in math instruction? A. Clearly defined objectives and measurable outcomes. B. Informal tracking of progress. C. Flexible goals without documentation. D. Verbal assessments only. 40. Which strategy fosters mentoring through reflection? A. Avoid questioning practices. B. Encourage self-assessment and shared experiences. C. Use top-down directives only. D. Limit dialogue to performance review. TABE Math Test. The TABE Math Test, part of the Tests of Adult Basic Education TABE, is designed to assess the mathematical skills and knowledge of adult learners in academic or workforce development settings. It evaluates a range of competencies, including basic operations, number sense, measurement, data interpretation, algebra, and geometry. The test is divided into two main sections: mathematics computation and applied math, assessing both fundamental arithmetic and real-world problem-solving skills. The TABE Math Test helps educators determine a student's readiness for further education, job training, or employment opportunities, aligning with national adult education standards. It is commonly used by adult learning centers, high school equivalency programs, and vocational training institutions. Here are the top 5 beneficial uses of the sample exam. 1. Educational placement. The TABE Math Test accurately determines the appropriate instructional level for adult learners, ensuring they are placed in math programs that match their current skills. 2. Career Readiness Assessment. It evaluates math competencies essential for workforce success, particularly in fields requiring numerical reasoning, such as healthcare, manufacturing, and business. 3. High school equivalency preparation. The test identifies strengths and gaps in math knowledge, helping learners prepare effectively for GED, HiSET, or other equivalency exams. 4. Progress monitoring. Educators use TABE math results to track student improvement over time, guiding instructional adjustments and goal setting. 5. Program evaluation. Institutions rely on TABE data to measure the effectiveness of adult education programs, ensuring they meet educational standards and learner outcomes.